Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Amber's Bay, the iconic Fako mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, a celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of Southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities, each page imbued with the hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. Good evening and welcome to this important broadcast. After the indomitable lions, now considered as the domitable lions of La République du Cameroon, got a slit qualification into the knockout stages of the ongoing AFCON. I'll call it a slit chance last Tuesday. The world woke up to what we call the elegant mistake of TV5 Monde. TV5 Monde broadcast report on the qualified nations brought Ambazonia into the spotlight of mainstream media in a very extraordinary way. The use of the Ambazonian national flag in place of La République du Cameroon flag sparked controversy across the board all week long. Some reactions from La République du Cameroon activists like Natalie Yom and veteran old school rapper Visceral insinuate that France, via their propagandist machinery or platform, TV France Du Monde, could be behind the purported mistake. According to Natalie Yom, France has been trying to split La République du Cameroon apart, what they call their nation. This, to many Ambazonians, seems as a paradox vis-a-vis the Franco-Cameroon hegemony in the Cameroons. In the undertone of their voices and reactions from these activists, you could sense some sort of frustration, mostly arrogance, because according to them, Ambazonia is somewhat their priceless possession, not just les ennemis dans la maison, but their slaves. So according to them, from the undertones that we got from their voices, they were like asking David Mont, how dare you? Amazonians have shown diverse reactions on the contrary. Some consider it a blessing in disguise. Others consider it a curse. The government of Amazonia, via the Secretary of State for Communication, is asking an apology from TV5 Monde. Another school of thought is pushing and even suggesting that a lawsuit should be filed in. Don't worry what we see from some quarters that they're fighting lawsuits. They do not have what it takes to file such lawsuits on behalf of the nation of Ambazonia. And if Ambazonia is going to file a lawsuit, would they be filing a lawsuit as individual groups or as groups or consortium of groups that come together? You see, people have actions that are in defiance of logic at every time they act. If we are going to file a lawsuit, if there is a chance for the nation of Amazonia to file a lawsuit, then we're filing it as a nation, not as a nation that has groups, but as a nation that has a government. And that should be the place of the government of Amazonia. But these same individuals purporting themselves as those who probably have filed in a lawsuit. I heard from one of their spokespersons yesterday saying that they are still planning to do it. But this same person published that they have filed a lawsuit. It's another paradox and confusion that is taking place in Cameroon. So these are all the diverse opinions that are coming in from different quarters within the Ambazonian community. And we are asking again, is it a blessing or is it a curse? What do you think? For all those of you who are watching us via our social media platforms, we'd like you to tell us via the comment section, what do you think? Is this a blessing in disguise or is it a curse? What gains can Ambazonia make from it? And I'll be asking the lawyers that are also with me here tonight, is there any way that we can file a lawsuit against TV5 Monde? Because in a rebuttal report, one of the reporters have apologized to Cameroon for making what they now consider a mistake, even though some are sensing that could have probably just been an intention from France. But what are the gains? What is France trying to gain by showcasing Ambazonia's flag? We've had genocide, a genocidal onslaught that is mostly sponsored by France for close to 7 years, and we've not had any major show in any of their platforms. Why will they do this if it is intentional? Well, our first guest could have been that it is a mistake. And I also want to believe that the government of Ambazonia is requesting for an apology because it is disrespectful. It has been done without the consent of the Ambazonian government. Should it be limited to the apology? Can the government take another action? Will the government just back and not bite? These are all questions we hope to have to provide suggestions tonight. We may not necessarily provide definite answers since we are not policy makers, but we want to believe that with the help of our program, policy makers could be advised. Right after the break, we'll commence the conversation. And just so you know, the suspense is over. Big Number, also known by most as General Efang, is dead and very dead. Surprisingly, his own people are excited about it. What is the future of Momo County in this delight? Will the people of Momo take advantage of this to reconstitute the county and put it back where it was by the year 2020, 2021? These are all questions we will seek answers tonight. Stay tuned right after the break. Good evening, Barrister Fro. Good evening, Barrister Team Bisiha. Thank you for always respecting our wonderful rendezvous. This is Ambazonia this week. Ambazonians have been looking forward to this program because at the end of the day, we come to hit the nail. And you seem to be eager to want to start speaking, Barrister Fro. Maybe we commence with you. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Paddy, and good evening, Ambazonians. Good morning, Ambazonians, or good evening, or good afternoon, Ambazonians, depending upon which part of the world you are watching. Particularly our Ambazonians in the home front. I am here again once more, and I'm encouraging every Ambazonian to stay the course, to hang in there and stay the course. We are winning and winning big. Having said that, Paddy, we saw the flag that was carefully put against Cameroon. It was our flag that was carefully put against Cameroon. And when I saw it, I said, I got off of my chair and nearly fell on the ground. I said, but what is this? After evaluating and listening to other bloggers, Francophone bloggers more especially, I want to believe that it was not a mistake. Others may call it mistake. That is their opinion. To me, it was not a mistake. It was a political statement that was made. It took them 3 days to bring it down. to correct the mistake. They claim it's a mistake, but the deed has been done. I don't see how TV5 will make such a mistake only on Cameroon. I don't see how they can make that a mistake, because for them, Cameroon is their live wire. For the French, Cameroon is their live wire now. They've lost the Sahel. They've lost 4 important countries in the Sahel. And they have made a political statement to La République du Cameroon. The question is, what is the statement? I would argue that the statement is meant to encourage us to fight on. I will explain that later. Secondly, according to the French blockers, it is meant to blackmail Cameroon. It is meant to destabilize Cameroon. To encourage us, what do I mean by that? I don't think for us we can take it as they are encouraging us, but for them, they want to let Cameroon know that there is another country called the Federal Republic of Amazonia or Southern Cameroons. Let them not think that if they continue to trade with the Russians, if they continue to sign military pacts with the Russians, if they continue to prostitute with the Chinese and other people against the interests of France, France has an alternative. And having said all that, they also want to know France to believe that to Cameroon to believe that Cameroon cannot choose its leader. The leader of Cameroon will be chosen by Francafrique, by France, actually, so that the French can continue to control La République du Cameroon. Now, they also want to show the French show the Cameroonians that they have an alternative, and that the oil that they are drilling in the Gulf of Guinea, which belongs to the Federal Republic of Amazonia, there is this principle in politics which says there are no permanent enemies, but there are permanent interests. Politics is interest. So they can still negotiate with the Southern Cameroons and Amazonia to the detriment of France, to the detriment of La République. Excuse me. So that is the way I'm reading it. I'm reading it and also saying that the French, up to now that I'm talking, have a policy that no English-speaking Cameroonian, that is the Anglophones that are still hanging in there, in La République du Cameroon, can ever become the head of state of Cameroon. And I will push that further. The two groups of people in this whole mess, the English-speaking Cameroonians and the Bamilikis, are those who have challenged the status quo of France and La République du Cameroon. And as of those two, up to now that I'm talking, none of them can become the leaders of Cameroon, because according to a French blocker, if they put an Anglophone, he will tell you the oil that is coming from the Gulf of Guinea to Britain and the United States. But France still want to continue to benefit as they are doing now, and therefore they will maintain a francophone who has French interests at heart. And it's a message to Cameroon to say, you are not indispensable. The Sahel might have left us, but if you try, we will be the first to leave you, because we are getting more from the English-speaking African countries than we are getting from you, the Francophones. I see, look, let nobody believe that it was a mistake. They kept that thing there for 3 days.
I'm going to get back to you.
They kept it there for 3 days.
I'm going to get back to you on that. As I throw a moment, please. I'll get back to you with that rhetoric. Let's try to make our comments brief so that we can coordinate the discussion and not make it too long and too bogus. Now,
Yes.
Vice Tambesia, please give us an insight into that argument.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank our viewers and our listeners. This is my take. You know, in this IG, we have something we call the spiritual cabinet, where Victor Mba and the rest are there. And
There's a
often, when
government,
we
sir.
go there,
Not IG.
I say in this government, I didn't say IG.
Okay.
I say we have a spiritual cabinet in this government, where Dr. Victor Mba and the rest go there to pray. And I've often listened to his prayer. They say, let our enemies become confused. And I take off from there. God speaks to people through different means. If you ask TV5, Monde, they'll tell you it was a mistake. If you ask the Republic of Cameroon, they will tell you it was evilly planned for them. If you ask some of Ambazonians, they say, yeah, we just did it to gain some profit out of it. None of those things is true. The only truth, in my own opinion, is it is a divine message, a message from God. Where if you ask TV, they say it was a mistake, but they cannot explain what happened. And this is evidence by the reaction. I don't care the bloggers and all those influencers. No. See the reaction of the Cameroon government. The first people to react was the National Communication Council. What has the National Communication Council got to do with TV5 in France? They're supposed to regulate news media in Cameroon. They have nothing to do with it. The next was the minister.
But they have to react to protest.
Now, let me just finish. Then let me finish my point. The next was the ambassadors and the ministers. TV5 is a private news media. They can publish what they want, and if you feel offended with it, go to court. It's like CNN in this country. So the people were just confused. But let me go to where my analysis takes me. That it is a divine. This will take me back to the Bible. All of us, at least most of us who are Christians, are familiar with the story of the Egyptians and how the Israelites left Egypt. But most often we forget how they got there. The Israelites got to Egypt because Joseph was sold there into slavery. When he got to Egypt, he became the prime minister. And Jacob, his father, and his brothers followed with their 2 legs and went there. When they went there, the Jewish community, they multiplied. They grew into numbers, became rich, and became slaves to the Egyptians. The Egyptians would not let them go. And how did they go finally? Again, the Bible says there was something they call the plagues, the 7 plagues of Egypt. That came once in a while to warn the Egyptians. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. The Egyptians never believed it. And the 7 plagues occurred. They did not believe it until they and they only believed it when they got drowned in the Red Sea, trying to prevent them from leaving. Does it have anything similar to us? Of course, I think. When we voted to join these people, it was our free will to do it. When things are bad, we don't want to come out. They don't want us to come. But again, was it divine? Yes. Was it similar to something like the plagues of the Egyptians? Yes, it was. Because this is not the first. Remember, in 2017, I think, when Paul Biya went to France, and voluntarily, someone asked me a question. I said, well, I wanted to assimilate them. That was the honest truth. He could have answered that question by simply saying, uh, there's nothing going wrong with my country. But he said unconsciously wanted to assimilate the people. And since then, what has been the explanation? From government secretary, say, well, the president misspoke, or he never said anything. But the message has already been sent out. Today, we dwell on it. Our supporters sympathize on it. They now realize that they wanted to assimilate us. It was 2017. They did not agree. They did not believe that
I
something
think
had
that was
happened.
2019.
2019.
Okay,
Yeah.
let us say 2019. Came 2021, I think, or 2020 somewhere. I don't know which came first. Mr. Dion Gute, the prime minister, went to Bamenda with the aim of Anglophone. And the first words that came out of his mouth, it is for Ambassador to accept the independence. 3 times. Was that a mistake? No. Do you know what he was saying? No. It was a divine message being delivered through the mouth of their own prime minister. To them, let my people go. And so, if you put all this together, I would say it is a divine message. Though human beings will give reasons, explanation. That is what, if all the money we have contributed, we have drafted for the past 5 years, we could not even go diplomatically to call the TV5 to do it for us. No one invited us. It happened. And so whether they like it or not, the message is already out there. Action or no action, the message has been delivered. Yeah, they pulled it down. But the message is still there. Yes, Paul Biya tried to come back to his message. He had already gone out. Diangote tried to give excuses for what he said. The message is already out. To me, it is a divine message telling our opponents. First, you are confused from their reaction. See over what you're writing, nothing has any meaning to what they're doing. Then warning them, this journey of Ambazonians is unstoppable. It is coming soon. And you might die, you might drown, you might die in the process of trying to follow them. Just like the Egyptians got drowned in the Red Sea. Like it or not, to me, that is a divine message. As to whether you can sue or not sue, those who want to sue can go and sue. That will alter nothing.
Now, before we even get into that,
Have been
before
delivered.
we get into that, Barrister Mbesi and Barrister Fro, we've all given hypothetical explanations to it. And when you hear from a Christian standpoint, something is divine, meaning that thing probably is in your favor. Scripture says all things work together for the good to those who love God and those who are called according to. Now, this is where I want us to settle. Let's look into the intricacies of this media outreach. Cameroon has protested, but let's pick on reactions from the Cameroon camp. You have Natalie Young, who is a Cameroonian Swiss activist. I used to think that she has some sense, but from the comments that she made, it was clear to her, or it was clear to me, that according to her, we are just some sort of priceless possession to them. Is it that she's ignorant of the history of the Cameroons put together, or she is just undermining what they call Anglophones, les ennemis dans la maison, their slaves? But her statements seem to suggest that they are very angry with TV France, not for even the flag, but for the fact that perhaps it's an esteem to us. You know, to them, we are like a priceless possession. And that was what I could read even from Vassero, the rapper's video, and other French bloggers. To them, Ambazonia is part of their country. And so they are warning France from such a mistake. My question again to you, as you want to comment in these reactions, would be, what do you see from the back of their minds? And what could this possibly lead to if France does not officially react as a government? Mr. Fu.
France will not react as a government because that's a private TV station. It's like telling the United States government to react on anything that CNN says. No, France will not react. France cannot get involved in petty in those type of things. And I want to continue to develop where I started. Look, I made a statement that the people who run TV5 have made a political statement to Cameroon, to La Republic of Cameroon, that they may want to think that they can walk away from the French. There will be consequences of walking away from the French because the French have an alternative. What intrigues me is that some francophone bloggers in Cameroon are saying, I heard one very clearly. He said, if France knows that for now, they are stealing the oil from the Gulf of Guinea, which belongs to Ambazonia, but that France is capable of cutting that off and dealing directly with Ambazonia, just like they are dealing with other English-speaking African countries. And I'm telling you that I have nothing against what my colleague has just said about tying it to faith and religion and the Bible and all that. Yes, even the prophet had prophesied something like this, of this nature. But I am talking particularly of I am basing my arguments particularly on politics. The French are very jitty about African countries now, particularly Cameroon that is frolicking with the Russians, and they had been frolicking with the Chinese to the detriment of France. And France is trying to blackmail some people. I'm not saying that it's an official position of the French. It could have been that they do it indirectly through their television station, but there's no proof that the French government is involved. But there are people in France who are angry with the fact that they are losing Africa. And the few African countries that are still attached to them, like Cameroon, La Republic of Cameroon, the Congo of Sassou and others, they are telling the most important one, Cameroon, that don't play with us because we have an alternative. There are no permanent enemies in politics. There's only permanent interest. And we can shift our interest anytime we want.
Now,
I base my argument on the fact that Nigeria does more business with the French than all of Francophone Africa put together. So I'm not refusing the fact that it's divine. It could be,
Nigeria might be doing business with the French, which I agree with you. That is genuine business to some extent.
yes.
But the difference with French Africa is the fact that France really doesn't need to do a business. France simply owns French Africa, and taxes are paid directly to France. Now, Barrister Mbesa, I'm coming to you. And there's something here which I do not want us to.
No. Before you go, Paddy. Before you go, let me say something here. France knows that they are going to lose that part of their economic live wire, the money that is being paid in the French treasury. They know that they cannot continue forever.
talking in
They are
anticipation.
trying to listen now. Let me finish. They are trying to recalibrate their politics.
That is,
Let not take.
I'm trying to say that I'm not disputing, but we need to make progress with the conversation. I'm saying that what you're actually saying, it is in anticipation. That is what France is probably anticipating, and there's evidence to that, considering what is
Yes.
happening in West Africa. But this is my concern with this conversation, and I'm coming back to you, Barrister Mbesia. Natalie Young insinuates that France wants to divide the Cameroons. And according to her, that's the plan. That has been the plan of France for a while. Do you think there is any credence to that, looking into the picture of the Franco-Cameroon hegemony within the Cameroons?
For now, my answer is no. Let me remind us something which I've always said. Well, we all agree most of the time that the Francophones as a bloc, from Douala to Garoua to Betua, they would rather die, all of them, than accept Ambazonian to go. They did not hang on to us.
So you are saying this, it was just a litmus test to prove what you are just saying that this
Yes,
just showed example.
let me analyze and learn. They would rather die collectively than to let any of them go. The reaction of Natalia is not different from other collective Francophones. We've been talking about Francophone property. I'm sure you know Victoria very, very well. From West Coast to town to Tico, it's not the government of La Republic who is buying all those lands. They are individual La Republic citizens who are investing there. They have a lot of interest in Ambazonian remaining with them. And so they will naturally be very angry at anything that would give a semblance that Anglophones will go away. I need to be reminded, we consider ourselves to be slaves under La République du Cameroon as of now. And again, no slave master ever allows his slaves to go free. Where the United States, you remember? You go back and look at your book if you've not looked at them. What was the cause of the Civil War, the American Civil War? It was the unwillingness of the southern states to let slaves go free. And they fought a civil war for years and died, many of them, to keep slaves. For what were slaves to them? They were property. They worked for them. Every individual farmer, every cotton farmer, every sugarcane farmer took up arms to fight against the slavery, the freedom of slaves. And so they are not going to let us go. Again, but the signs are all there. It is not too long ago that Remain Ngono said, look, the way I see this, Mr. Remain Ngono said, is it is time for us, the Francophones, to start envisaging a moment that we shall live without Anglophones. What do you mean by that? Envisage a moment when that gas tap from over there is gone. When all what comes from them is no longer going to be there. That was a prediction. Though it came from the human voice, he is still an activist. So, can I say God was speaking through him? Of course. Are they realizing it now? They are. So I don't think for now, I want to apportion anything to the French government. Yes, if it happens, they will do everything to take advantage of it as a government. It does not matter to the French whether the Babylonian man living in Limbe or Boya or Bamanda is chased away. What is interesting to them is that they tap the oil or they get the economic benefit that they want for France. And so they can always change count. But the anger of Nathalie and others is looked at in the terms of the global context of every single Francophone. They have looked at us, at the very least, as people who were coming to set them free from the dungeon of the French. Even if they were from Garawa, who are not buying property in Victoria or Bamanda, they looked at us as a source of freedom. Now they are losing this bargaining chip these stooges that will fight for them, that will die for them. They wanted political parties. Who are those who died for it? They are Anglophones. And now they have so many over there. They wanted universities. Who are those who fought and died for them? The Anglophones. They are going away. They have had so many other universities, and we have only one, which is not even as big as the Douala or the Yaoundé or Ochang. And so they have seen us from different perspectives, economically, politically, as their source of survival. And now, if we are going away, the Natali, ordinary citizens will cry foul, talk less of their government. For they are losing a source of supply, they are losing a big arm of their strength. Why do you think this guy who met Sisiku in prison say, well, if anything I brought from prison was that I met Sisiku, and they agreed that we shall be one country, and everybody will be there, not wanting to go away. Did it because he loved Sisiku? No. He had that promise from Sisiku, and they believe that Sisiku could keep us with them. It's not because they want to help us. We'll continue to be the source of exploitation, be it politically, economically, or otherwise. That's my take about that. Thank you.
Yeah, go right ahead, Barisafo.
Look, let's not think that the French is not watching the fight in Cameroon. Let's not think that the French are putting a lot of money, a lot of equipment, a lot of everything, and it's not yielding fruits. The French are looking at the day after this war ends with the southern Cameroon. Look, I don't think that the French are that stupid to be relying very much on Cameroon stealing oil from the Gulf of Guinea to be selling to them, and they want to keep it. No, they are looking at tomorrow. What happens if Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, becomes a sovereign nation and they take over their territory? What happens to our energy supply that we have been relying on the Gulf of Guinea? They are playing both sides. They are playing both sides. But the way people like Natalie don't know the history of Cameroon, and secondly, I don't think that they are following the evolution of this fight on the ground to know whether how Ambazonia will end. But the French are not. They are studying the situation very carefully. And therefore, let us not go with the belief that the French are they have nothing to do with it. They are just watching. No, the French are watching, and anything that will help them gain a little bit of opening on the Ambazonian side is welcome. The reason why I am making this statement, I cannot believe that even if it was an error and it was pointed out, it took 3 days to correct it. 3 good days. Look, I don't know. TV5 is like CNN, and the French have no influence on. They cannot tell TV5 what to do. But they also have French citizens working there, and they might have put up them to do what they are doing. I will not know. I cannot completely extricate the French hand in this whole matter because I don't know much. But those who have done it is TV5, and they have passed a political message. Whether we believe it or not, that is what it is. It may be divine, it may not be divine, but the message has gone. It has gotten this issue has gotten the French blockers to come out against the French. They have gotten the reaction they wanted from the French public, from the Francophone public. And don't forget, Biya is frolicking with the Russians. He has been to Russia. He has sent delegations to Russia. And the French are jittery. because the French have already lost 4 big countries in the Sahel. So they cannot continue. They will have to develop a strategy where they cannot lose completely. That is my take.
Now let me
Okay, from this take, yes, please.
I did not say that the French don't have an interest. What I said was the reaction of Nathalie, like any other citizen of the Republic. The French have a simpler task if you go away than the Republic. This is my colleague who said a few minutes ago that in politics they are not permanent friends, not permanent enemies. They can still tap our gas, they can still tap our oil on our terms. They lose nothing.
On our terms, yeah.
Yeah, they can still do it. But the Francophones, again, I've given that example, who live in Victoria, who live in Bamenda, who have invaded our own territory for their own private investment, are not going to benefit the same things. They cannot change the allegiance like that. They cannot carry the houses from Bamenda on the head to Munda. They cannot carry the houses from Victoria or Boya to Douala. That is heavy investment that put there, some with bank loans. But again, we are discussing the reaction of the normal Cameroonian, Nathalie, and the other citizens. The French have a stake. They are watching. It is easier for them to bend, to go to where their interest is. They can always do that. They will always do that. That's what smart politicians do. But again, whatever it happens, there are signs, as I started by saying, there are signs that we are succeeding in this thing. This thing has turned out being, to me, a wonderful blessing in the publicity of our cause. Whether they like it or not, they can give any excuses. The message cannot be withdrawn. Where it remained there for 2 days, for 6 hours, for whatever thing, it had been there. Everybody saw it. And what is a flag in the first place? They are making as if it's something big. You and me live here. You can go into any store. I have in town here, this is university school. You can go there and buy any flag in the country. And come and put it in your beer, in your off-license. That country will not sue you and say, well, you are using our flag in your off-license. Flags are, they're not patented. It's not a patent. Nobody can use that piece of cloth. But they remain a symbol to the countries that do it. And so,
and that's the point. And that's the point by Stambesia. Can you imagine talking about a struggling victory of the indomitable lions, which I now consider domitable lions? You will be having an Ambazonia flag, cognizant of the ongoing genocide. So using a symbol of Ambazonia, and that's the cause. That's the reason why we are talking. So I think it's a big deal. It's not just anybody having a flag.
In fact, it was a surprise to them, and it was even a more surprise to me, to Ambazonians, because we never expected it. But it has happened. We have to take advantage of it. We have to make this discussion for them to realize that Ambazonia is a reality. There are at least 199 flags in the world, official countries. How is it that even by mistake, why did it fall simply on Ambazonia? Why was it not Estonia? Why was it not Biafra?
I'm going to take some calls for people to react on this, but Stafru, go ahead. After that, we'll look at the ability to file a lawsuit and the claims that some people are making. Because should Ambazonia file a lawsuit? If yes, why? If no, why? But before we get into that, let me get your reaction and take some calls.
Yes, I want us to know that if we have been watching, TV5 put all the reactions from Cameroonians on the air, and they were playing it, and some of them were laughing. First of all, the Cameroonian public, the bloggers, and the reaction of the footballers and the spectators and everybody was a violation of the terrorism law of Cameroon of 2014. And they condemned the French for trying to destabilize their country, and so on and so on. That reaction is what the French wanted to hear. and they
Okay,
made sure that they played it.
That's the side of the argument. That's what you believe, that perhaps that is what France wanted to hear.
Yes, and they heard it, and
Okay.
that is for them to prepare their strategy. What happens tomorrow? It's like the question
Okay.
is being asked the
Want to
Israelis.
get a
What
reaction?
happens after the war?
Let's get a
What happens?
reaction. Let's get a reaction from the public in this regard, and then we'll make progress.
Okay.
Go right ahead, please. You have the floor, caller. Yes, you have the floor.
Yeah. Good evening in Amazonia, and I've been following what is going on there very, very succinctly, and I just have this to add that the world had not known that Amazonia or Southern Cameroon were two countries divisible with Cameroon Republic, and so God passed by during the AFCON to announce to the whole world watching the AFCON that Cameroon replaced Southern Cameroon's flag, subjugated and removed the flag and portrayed itself as the only Cameroon that people should know. And so God made the world that is sitting silent as genocide is going on in Amazonia to know that there were two Cameroons of equal status. One was suppressed and one tried to show itself as the lion of the Cameroons. And so I agree what was said to what the narratives given by Barrister Besali, Barrister Timothy, concerning the Egypt detention of the Israelites and so on and so forth. But what I want to add is that all the bloggers from La République du Cameroon who are trying to defend La République du Cameroon are actually doing it because La République du Cameroon has hidden their own history from their own people. And so they may be talking very sincerely, but sincerely wrong because they don't know their own history. And so I think one of the barristers has just related situations that actually point out that Amazonia, Southern Cameroon, was an equal state, and so that was destroyed. And another thing I want to put back here is that when God fought that map of the flag of Amazonia on TV5 Monde, it was also to try to what we call subsume, that is, find out the minds of some people who claim that they are Amazonians, like Ayabacho, who went straight forward to ask for money from the TV that is showing them because they use the map of the flag of Amazonia without their permission. So it's to tell us that there are some people, as far as the Amazonia is concerned, they don't want it to finish because they are making gains. And he just came out to show to the world that he is one of those members that is using Amazonia's blood to look for money. And so what I will conclude to say is that while God is bringing this revelation as the federal cabinet of the government of the Federal Republic is praying, asking that every confusion to what happened in the court of Amazonia and to let the world know that God is involved and in charge of Amazonia, so is the situation with TV5. And so that is what I wanted you to say, to let the people know that TV5 did not make a mistake. It was God. And when God is on the throne, and when God is in control, God does it the way that people do not really understand. And so that is what I want to contribute to this particular emission that is going on ABC Amba TV. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you. That leads us to a very important fact there. I think whatever we just heard, I think published by Tapang Ivor Tanku, that there is a case that has been filed in, is a bluff, because moments later we heard him saying somewhere else that the case should be filed. So he's somebody I know. I've worked at the back with. I know he's kind of a propaganda, and perhaps it's a thought he got in the mind and then just took it. But that's the naivety, because if you want to do something like that, you do it like McCain would say during his campaign in 2008. He said, you do things, you don't talk things. So is there any credibility to that effect? I begin with Barrister Mbesia before coming to Barrister Fro. If Ambazonia should file a lawsuit, why and how? If not, why?
Let me start with this. A lawsuit is not as simple as Tapang says. I happen to have, you've listened to his audio, but I happen to have coincidentally followed him last night, where he was on the Anu's program. He was a guest. And those things came out. I just laughed. I wanted to save that thing. I went back to it. I pulled it down. But let me answer the question. For you to sue anybody, you cannot sit here, for example, and sue a Cameroon Tribune. If they publish in Yaoundé that you're a thief, you have to go and sue them there, because that's where the paper is published. So where is the venue? TV5 was reporting a match that took place in the Ivory Coast. Cameroon even had the license to go there. So you cannot sit here as ambassador and want to sue them. If you have to sue them, you must sue them either on the Ivory Coast, where the events took place, or you sue them in Paris. Again, you cannot sit here, nobody can just you cannot sit here and sue a paper who publish something against you in Germany or in Russia. So you have to do for the venue. Do you have a venue? No. Ambassador cannot do it. Do you have a course of action? Yes, they publish all that. What is the course of action? How did that hurt you? You must be able to prove the damages that you suffered as a result of that action. TV5 has used a flag, wrongly or rightly, but what is the monetary value of the damages that we are going to claim? Can we make that claim before a court of law? I think my humble opinion is no, you will not succeed. We are now in the court of public opinion, which I think we are winning at that level. We are exploiting the propaganda part of the story, which is more pain than the money damages that we'll never get. You can go there, you can even say you want the case. You have proved no damages. You are giving $1 symbolic damages. That's the damages. $1. And so, legally, I don't think ambassador can sue. First, because we don't have the venue. The venue is France. I find it difficult going to France to sue TV5 for publishing what they liked. Secondly, what's the course of action? I don't see any course of action that has hurt, that has brought any damage to ambassador. Rather, it has brought us publicity. It has brought us advantages politically, communication-wise. And so I don't think any legal action is possible, especially from Ambazonia. Thank you.
Barrister Fru?
Yes, I agree in total with my senior colleague. There is no cause of action. There's no venue. At the same time, we have won because it's enough publicity for us. Most of the African countries that are participating in that football tournament, and even the African countries that are watching.
So we are collectively agreeing to the fact that it is a blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise because they now know, the Africans now know the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. That's
so
flag.
If we agree, and I would like the both of you to react to this. If we agree it is a blessing in disguise, why would the government of Ambazonia request for an apology officially?
It's political. Let me explain. We cannot sit quiet when our flag is being paraded without permission. We were not parties to that competition. Therefore, TV5 did not have a right. They didn't have a right to put our flag without permission from us. So we're only asking for apology. We cannot go beyond an apology. Because if we sue, we will lose very, very seriously, because we are getting more than we expected. I will dare those who are angry and are hurt is La République du Cameroon, and they have access to TV Monde. They have access to France. They have access to Ivory Coast during the matches. They can sue TV5 in Ivory Coast or in France, and I dare them to do it. But for us, we don't have any cause of action. We don't have any. We're not interested in the venue. Even if we have a venue, we will not do it because there's no cause of action. We will not be able to claim anything. So I dare La République du Cameroon to sue TV5.
Do you want to add to that? I make progress by some basic.
Yeah, let me say this. I don't think asking for an apology is even the right thing. Just this week, last week, I remember. Last week, I think, we saw Nijo in London with other people who don't even know. Carabazano flag to join a demonstration in support of Israel. That was to publicize our cause. Those people who are not even Nijo, they never sought our permission to carry our flag to publicize our cause. I have personally taken part in demonstrations, for example, in support of Palestine. I've never gone there. I'm not a Palestinian. As long as you are doing something that will promote the cause of the people, you cannot ask the people to apologize. I'd rather, if I were the one, I would write a letter of congratulation to TV5, thanking them for giving us this publicity. The whole the team that was playing there, what only one Clinton and Anglophone sitting there on the bench who didn't have him play. They didn't put him to play. He sat on the bench the whole time. And suddenly, something comes and brings us this popularity. What, in your honest mind, will you be asking them to apologize for? For apologizing for a mistake that they did, that gave you publicity, that brought you to a limelight that you didn't have before? I don't think that is advisable. Thank you.
Paddy, can I?
Okay.
I have a different view. I
think you made your view on that regard.
No.
Your view.
No.
The apology. The apology.
No.
Diplomatic.
No. Let me develop that a little bit. The communique from our Secretary of State for Communication was timely, because as a sovereign nation, we cannot sit quiet when a thing like this happens. And secondly, politically speaking, given our present revolution and fight on the ground, we need to let the French know that we cannot be walked over. We cannot be any emblem of ours cannot be used carelessly.
Should not be used carelessly. Now, this again, you realize that it's debatable. Both sides, you're both bringing arguments that are debatable, and let me explain. Because if you say there is no credence to the case for any lawsuit, then you cannot question a person's right.
No, you're using the wrong word. It's not credence. You're using the wrong word. There is no cause of action.
Now, if you say there is no cause of action, but then you're questioning again the right of usage, it sounds like a paradox.
I'm talking politics. I am talking politics here. You have to separate politics from law.
It's debatable.
You have to separate Paddy, listen. You have to separate politics from law. Politically, as a sovereign nation, as we are striving to be a sovereign nation, we will not allow any country in the world to use our emblem or anything that concerns us without permission. And we must make a statement. You cannot just sit without making a statement.
You are saying that we will just make an empty statement that has no bearing, which again,
it's not empty. It is not empty. I'm sorry to disagree. It's not empty. It makes TV5 to know that we have reacted.
That's what I'm saying. Your point has been taken. There are those who think that it should be more than just a statement, and there are those who believe that the statement shouldn't have been made at all. Whichever the case may be, the internationalization of the struggle was made cheaper by a mainstream media platform, TV5 Monde.
Correct.
Then we're still going to come back to some aspects of that by the time we're concluding this program. But there is now no more suspense. We've avoided to talk about this situation, but it calls our attention. Big number FM is no more. What is the future of Momo? Before we do that, Undaunted has a retrospect of the war in Ambazonia this week. Let's hear them. Right after that, we will get deeper into that part of the discussion. I would like to get your opinion. We want you to advise the Momo County, most especially, and other sister counties, what should be done at this time that big number has been confirmed dead and very dead. Stay tuned.
Well, this week, we took a look at the war in Ambazonia like every other week. Recent developments in the Ambazonian War of Independence have marked a significant shift in the tactical and symbolic struggle for sovereignty against the forces of occupation from La République du Cameroon. The Amazonian State Army ASA, particularly in Boyi County, under the command of Major General Wonyo, achieved a decisive military victory during the week that has reverberated across the entire nation, symbolizing a strong assertion of national and territorial aspirations as always. In an unanticipated dawn ambush, the Amazonian State Army effectively utilized the elements of surprise and tactical expertise to outmaneuver their opponents. This operation is not merely a seminal event in the military ledger of this conflict. It is also a stark reminder of the Amazonian State Army's resolved commitment to their cause for Amazonia's total freedom. The consequences of this encounter have escalated the confrontation, igniting renewed discussions on the viability and desired outcomes of this independence movement. Contrasting the fierce combative spirit displayed by the Amazonian State Army, the political landscape continues to be marred by historic grievances and what many perceive as perfunctory dialogues for peace. The devastation of the tragic events from September 2019, which saw the loss of 145 Amazonian lives on a single day, cast a shadow on the proclaimed intentions of colonial President Paul Biya's regime. It poses critical questions about the sincerity of proposed resolutions and the validity of international indifference to such dire circumstances. Calls for inclusive dialogue have been met with cynicism. The handling of the conflict and the attendant negotiations by the colonial government have drawn sharp criticism. A government disinclined to a genuine mediation, Amazonia laments the death that resulted amidst peace parleys, underscoring the disconnect between the official narrative and the live experience of those at the heart of the conflict. Mainstream media is to be blamed for biases, rhetorics. Well, adding to the military feat, the Amazonian State Army marked a significant stride towards reinforcing its territorial authority through celebratory victory in Mbonge and Konyi local government areas. These occasions occurring against a backdrop of cultural resuscitation and affirmation blatantly contradicts the narrative of stability and normalization put forth by French Cameroon's colonial authorities. As such, the Amazonian State Army's actions have been dual in nature, intertwining their military operations with a broader cultural and political assertion of identity and autonomy. The growing support for the Amazonian State Army ASA since its institution by President Sako last year, as reflected in the words of Vice President Eric Atay during his address to the nation last Saturday, demonstrates an undeniably complex narrative, one that is intertwined with Amazonians' aim to reclaim not just their land, but also the right to determine their socio-political future. As the international community begins to pay more attention, it is faced with a difficult balance of promoting regional stability while acknowledging the legitimate aspirations of a people for self-determination. It is imperative that in our assessment we do not fall prey to biased evaluations, but strive to understand the multiple dimensions of this conflict. The independence movement in Amazonia is not merely a battle of arms, but a profound testament to the resilience of a people's desire for self-determination against a history of suppression and negation of their identity. As international observers and analysts must recognize both the visible battles and the underlying currents that define such conflicts, providing a nuanced perspective that advances the prospect of a just and lasting peace. Even as we speak, the Amazonian State Army continues to increase the cost of occupation on the colonial government. The war is getting too expensive for La République to fund, but then Cabal in Yaoundé pretends not to be worried about this. Nonetheless, we at Undaunted ABC Amba News will continue to bring you updates week after week as the situation unfolds.
That was an interesting recap of the week of this week, and I think we're back with our conversation. The interesting part, aside from what is happening with the ASA, the reinforcement and reintegrations across the entire the entire nation, Efam is now confirmed dead. We saw videos of him being paraded as a rat. This is just indicative of one thing. We know, like Barrister Ghana of Moramo said yesterday, that he was not fighting for Amazonia. He was a La République du Cameroon contractor, armed contractor, under the leadership of Cho Ayaba, whom we know his behavior is questionable vis-a-vis our freedom movement. Today, he has been purportedly killed by the same people who contracted him. What does this tell us in essence? I begin with you, Barrister Flo.
Yes, Paddy, thank you very much. This incident that happened in Mogamo is to let us understand that La République takes all of us as enemies. They may use you as their contractor and you sell us to them and do whatever, but you are an enemy to La République du Cameroon wherever you are. Whether you are in La République government or you are a contractor like Cho Ayaba and the so-called general, but the incident that took place in Mogamo has given the county of Mogamo a unique occasion to rebuild the Amazonian State Army that was destroyed, that was neglected by some people in Mogamo, some important people in Mogamo who some are still in this cabinet, and allowed Mogamo to be taken over by the ADF of Ayabacho. This is a unique occasion for the county to rebuild, for the LGA and the county of Momo to rebuild Mogamo to where it was and take over, because ADF is now on the run. ADF is on the run. And La République of Cameroon, they have achieved two things. One, they have eliminated the most important witness that may testify against them if there will ever be a case in the ICC. And two, Ayabacho and his gang of thieves are no longer useful to La République of Cameroon. La République of Cameroon is recalibrating its war strategy, and ADF and Ayabacho have been taken out of the whole formula, and they should understand that. And it is time for us to take advantage of that and get rid of this canker worm called the ADF. They are in Mogamo. They are in a quarter in my village called Alabukam, and they are in Bui. It's time for us now to act fast and take them, because they are equally our enemies. They are contractors for our enemies, therefore they are our enemies. We should now get into Mogamo, fill the void that is there, and go after them and make sure that we eliminate them, not only in Mogamo, but in Alabukam and also in Bui. That is my take.
Barrister Mbesa, please.
I think there's something we have to learn from this guy. Two things. First, he's either dead or alive. But the important thing is that he has been deactivated. He's not coming back to fight anymore, even if he's alive. And then, you see, like Barrister says, let me just add other explanations there. It goes to serve a lesson. I don't think these people who killed him or who wounded him were doing anything different. They had used him and they wanted to dump him. That's been their trademark. Otherwise, I've not seen any other fighter, any other Ambazonian fighter who was given the red treatment, the red carpet treatment that this guy was given. When they see our boys, wherever they see them, when they escape to the hospital, they shoot and kill them there. They will not be sending escort to and carry them to any hospital. But this guy received that red treatment from the enemy's camp. Was he really an enemy? He was one of them who they have used enough. I wanted to dispose of him. And that is not new. But remember General Ivor, he was supposed to be in Kumba. He was supposed to be commanding the Mokete plantations and all those places. When they got finished using him, they dumped him and they killed him. And the ADF almost virtually ended in Kumba. So that will be a replica of what happens in Kumba. That will probably be the same thing in Momo. And in Momo, we're lucky. I followed Barrister Ghana's presentation yesterday. Barrister Ghana is not just from Momo. He's the chairman of the Momo County. And so, from what he said, and from what has happened,
He is the precise chair of Mogamo.
Is the chairman of Mogamo, LGA of Mogamo.
Well, I thought he was chairman of the home of Momo. But whatever is the case, we have able people like that who are from the area, who do know exactly what to do. Again, to our fighters, this guy, he has received treatment from the enemy all the time. We still remember the story of Madame Regina Mundi, where this guy, they drove him from Bamenda to somewhere in Momo. Drove her from Bamenda to Momo, her driver, and her Prado, and she came back in the plane. We still remember the story of Ayeke, who died in the BLM. He left the Red Dragon, created his own army to support the military. And they ended up killing him because after they used him and they didn't like him, that's the Salvation used him, they killed him and took and dumped him on the road, just like Ivor, took him to Kumba to show their mastery over it. So we are sure we have gotten rid of this mess. It is for the people of Momo to take advantage, as Mr. So says, rebuild, because the ADF is not coming back anymore. They can pretend, they can make honor, they're not coming back there anymore. And so let us take advantage of that, rebuild Momo, refortify it, and fight on. For the enemy was only there thanks to him. Since he has been deactivated, either by killing or by being wounded seriously, that is the advantage we have over it. Thank you.
You've just recollected some names that brings to memory. You talk about Amba, Ayeke, and it brings to memory some things in mind, which is going to lead us to something very important. And this is where I'm coming again to you, Barrister Afro. The memory it brings to mind is every fighter associating to these guys ends up the same way. It's either the first of all lead you to thievery and kidnapping, and then you start doing contract works for CPDM loyalists, and then you're victimized. It's like there is a pattern. Can the fighters on the ground just learn from this pattern and know what is right to be done?
Yes, before we talk about them learning, we must also look at what they have been doing. These people who are La Republic contractors have been using our population to raise money for themselves. This very Efang has built houses in Nigeria. He has a farm in Nigeria, and now that he's dead, because Barrister Mbesa doesn't think that he's dead, but I know that he's died. He's finally died. Now that he is dead, it should ring a bell to those who have been selling us to La Republic of Cameroon, collecting money, and also extorting our population and getting money in the name of taxes. We have not instituted any taxation in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. We are not collecting taxes from anybody, but this group of bandits who have been collecting money and investing in a neighboring country should know that they will be taken out, just like Efang has been taken out, Ayeke was taken out. Ibomba is the only exception, because Ibomba fought this war when the restoration force was not that developed. Fought it under Ayabacho, and Ayabacho sold him because of money he was collecting from Chief Mukete. They should know that every time that you are in a revolution like this and you sell the revolution, you are taking money, you will end. Your end is envisaged. The enemy, your friends who have been giving you money will come after you when you can no longer produce, because they want to eliminate evidence. They want to make sure that they clear their way. They have vomited ADF. ADF now is being chased by La Republique. So the lesson to our fighters is that either you stay loyal and fight for the government as a soldier of the government, or you retire. And when you retire, you will be respected just like somebody who has served the nation and is now being respected, and the time comes, you will get your reward. But if you think that you can betray the cause, just like the man the general that we had in Mogamo, the last one they called Savior, he went and sold, gave all the money that Mogamo bought, all the equipment that Mogamo bought to this Efang man lying here. When I gave him, and Efang vomited him, and he didn't know where to go, so he went to DDR. And it's a blessing for us because from DDR he came and showed where Efang was, and that camp has been decimated. That Efang camp with his boys have been decimated. So it's a blessing for us, and everybody who betrays this cause should know that he will pay with his blood, one way or the other. This is a good lesson for the fighter, that if you betray, don't think that you will get away with it. Sira Rambo, whatever they call him, who is now in DDR in Bamenda, you should hear this story, because you are not going to get away. La Republic will kill you and dump you, just like they are doing to others.
Actually, we are seeing China Rambo actually putting Cameroon uniform as we speak, going around to spy on our people. So this is a guy who was moving around the place, intimidating, manipulating, taking resources, and talking about taking bribery to enrich themselves. This is a proof right here that is coming from Cho Ayaba, and they are fraudulently using our state emblem on it to collect money from people. This is exhibit. This is clear exhibit. I think I should have blurred the name of the person who is there, but this is clear evidence of the fraudulent activity that is taking place in our home. And we are told that Ayaba is intimidating the people. He has now failed from his taxes. He's now taking whatever he called the land tax. I don't know.
I'm from Bali.
Yes, and this is evidence of a man who has failed to appeal the donors and stakeholders of Ambazonia. But Cho Ayaba is so crazy to force himself as a leader in the struggle. The Cameroon government is not probably giving him sufficient funding, and he will transform genuine fighters into armed robbers, kidnappers, just so as to stay relevant. But Zambesia, please, you've seen that image. And I'm using this because I want to announce to our people on the ground that you can come together, work with the government to stop these bandits. We are saying that the government is not aware of any of such tax. The Secretary of State for Communication will be sending a communique in this regard. And anyone who comes down there seeking for any form of money in the form of tax is a thief and should be dealt with as one. Go ahead, Barrister Mbesia.
I was saying that we should take this opportunity, not just give this education to our fighters. No, our parents who live in those areas, no community of Ambazonians should ever suffer like the people of Mogam, wherever in Momo, suffer in the hands of Efang and his team. Because the community is your first line of defense. And once you turn against your own first line of defense, you are killing yourself. It took a long time, I think almost 2 years ago. I came here and said, if we did not fight Choyaba, we're postponing the fight for another day. It has taken almost 2 years. And so this should never repeat itself anymore. Our people should learn never to accept this nonsense. Anybody fighting for this liberation should never turn his own gun, his own arms against his own people. It doesn't work, it will not work, and it should never work. We should learn to vomit out those things. Because I said here all the time, If Choayaba and his team, Efang survived for so long, they were living in a community with people. They lived in people's houses. People sheltered them for whatever reason. But there comes a time, every good thing has an end. They must have realized by now that what they were doing to shelter this guy, if he didn't have a sleeping place, he would not have been there for even 6 months. If he didn't have a place to harvest food, if he didn't have a place to take shelter, he would not go and take the taxes, because he took the taxes, or he take the taxes and go back to base. The base was not in the sky. The base was among people. So Ambazonians should learn never to tolerate such nonsense anymore. Be it in Momo, be it anywhere else. Our fighters are your own children. Our fighters should be the first people to defend you, and they should be the first people, you should be the first people to defend them. That's what it is. We just hope that no other fighter will ever go the way of Ayeke. No other fighter will ever go the way of Efang and others who have done the same. So our brothers, our parents at home should learn to vomit out this nonsense. We did not start this revolution to enrich ourselves. We started it to liberate the people, to save our people, not to punish them. So a poor man, 60,000 is so much money at home. Where do you even get this money to pay taxes? And I see the address on the receipt. Somebody living in Bali. There are so many people in Bali. This guy cannot be doing it and coming taking shelter in the same Bali. I let him go. No, they are just wrong. They can only collect the taxes because you pay them. Yes, if you resist, they might kill you, but they cannot kill everybody. If the whole community comes out and say, no, they're paying these taxes, they will stop. Because nobody is above the community. They will stop and they will pack and go. And so I get this has served as a lesson, not only to our fighters, but to our own parents who are housing these guys, to our parents who are giving them food, to our parents who are keeping their hideouts and their trucks secret from the enemy. And so that's what I take from it. Again, either Efang is dead or is seriously wounded. The bottom line is he is deactivated. They are on the run. They are in disarray. And so it should never happen again. I'm not sure that Efang and his people would live long enough to go and destroy another palace like the AY, to go and wipe out another one from the map of Ambazonia, as they promised. That is nonsense. That's unacceptable. It is intolerable. That's my take on it, sir. Over to you.
That's amazing. So we're definitely gonna make progress in that regard. So I am reiterating this again. The government of Ambazonia has not authorized anyone to take any form of tax. The state emblem you're seeing there is fraudulent. Those who have that and they are collecting taxes of any kind from you are thieves, and you should treat them as one. This is fraudulent. The government is not aware of it. The government, if you are supposed to pay anything or do anything or participate in any way, you should get express communication from the government. So anything you see in this regard is fraudulent, and is very, very fraudulent. We asking every Ambazonian at the home front not to participate. Thank you very, very much. We definitely gonna look on other issues before we come back, because this debate brought something to the limelight, and that has to do with it has to do with the green, red, yellow flag, which happens to be a betrayer to Ambazonia. But before we even get to that, we have a kind of recap. We have a particular report that is coming from the home front this weekend, again from Undaunted. We will process that and come back to conclude on why there should be no 11 February in Ambazonia, and why the green, red, yellow flag is fraudulent, and how that those who did not believe in those who say Ambazonia is not possible, like Choyaba, there was a particular statement he made that Ambazonia is fictional or something. Those who say we
It's a
don't
myth.
have a country, yeah, it's a myth and all of that, are now taking advantage of it for self-aggrandizement. Before that, let's follow this report of Undaunted and we'll be back.
Well, today's fresh report. Let's look at the Oku Colonial Divisional Officer accused of imposing unauthorized fees on market traders. Allegations have surfaced across the southern Cameroons of colonial administrative overbearings in Mbengui Bamenda, and now currently held by a colonial divisional officer in Oku, is being used to financially exploit local traders. The colonial administrator, Mr. Evaristus Pinajay Sukengang, has reportedly mandated an arbitrary fee of 2,000 francs CFA for the reopening of market shops that were previously sealed during a controversial crackdown. Apparently, the objective colonial government, in their grand scheme, are only seeking to ensure normalcy at all costs. In Oku, a significant escalation in the ongoing tensions between local market traders and colonial administrative authorities occurred on Tuesday, January 23, 2024. Mr. Evaristus Pinajay Sukengang, serving as the colonial divisional officer, is at the center of these allegations. Early reports indicate that a heavily guarded Mr. Sukengang ordered the closure of all shops within the main market of Oku. Sources confirms that traders have already lost a day of business due to the traditional observance of Ghost Town on Monday. Well, they were forcefully evicted from their premises. This is the target, the exact same thing that the colonial SDO in Mbengui has been attempting to do. Reports hazard that traders who conveyed other colonial divisional officers' demands the following day were apparently greeted with an ultimatum. The payment of 2,000 francs CFA was required for the reopening of each shop. Compliance with these demands resulted in significant financial pressure on the shopkeepers, and while payments were made, the discontent simmered. Well, according to the colonial divisional officer, the action was in response to the traders' failure to attend a meeting he had called on the preceding Sunday and Saturday. This has brought into question the methods of governance and the legitimacy of imposed levies in that locality, sensitive to historical colonial legacies and the ongoing genocide. This incident raises concern about the use of colonial administrative roles in contemporary governance in the Oku locality of Bui County. Shop owners and local civil rights groups are calling for a transparent inquiry into this matter, as the enforced fee has no clear legal basis and seems to be a punitive measure for non-attendance at the colonial governmental meeting. It also places the question of who is the true authority in the land. The government of Ambazonia, who calls for ghost town, or the colonial government, who is seeking to maintain the Franco-Cameroon hegemony. Well, the situation in Oku is developing, and further reports will emerge as more details will become available. Ensure you follow Undaunted on a regular basis to get the latest in all of the information from the home front.
That is it again. Thank you very much, Undaunted, for that report. That is it again, Barrister Fru. We find ourselves in a situation where no matter what we do in Cameroon has a strategy and they are on it. They want normalcy at all costs. Cameroon wants normalcy at all costs. So they're using the colonial officials to dictate, impose normalcy back into the country. It started in Momo, in Bengui, in Menemo, and now we've seen them digress and re-strategize, and they're doing it in different counties, just the exact same thing. This is an apology.
Yes, Paddy, I am very surprised because I thought that I have been of the impression that Bui is completely liberated. Oku is in Bui.
Yeah.
I am now calling on Shey Yembo and Major General Tokandu to ensure that they protect the people of Oku. To ensure that the Bui warriors protect the people of Oku because they deserve protection. How and that divisional officer, he is heavily armed, he comes protected and calls the shot and making people to pay 2,000 francs each for what? We must react on this. Our Amazonian State Army must react on this to show that we control the land, not La Republic of Cameroon. I'm surprised to see a duo standing in Oku. That is a place where Philemon Yang comes from. Meaning that Philemon Yang has done everything to protect him to the extent that he can come to Oku, stand in public, and threaten our people and collect 2,000 francs before they open their shops. We must show them that we own the land. And I'm calling on the Bui warriors and the Bui County to ensure that the people of Oku are protected and that land is taken over and chase away that so-called deal. Because he has no business doing that. Most of his colleagues are living in Bamenda Station. How did he get to Oku? That is my take.
By Stambesa, please.
What I think I would say here is, see, why the enemy changes tactics, we should also change our own tactics.
That's the discussion I'd like us to have.
Yeah, I don't think locking up stores is even a tactic that would require our restoration forces to go fight for them. Why they can lock your store, they cannot force you from your house to go and open it. And the stores in the town, they're owned by a few people that you can count them. So what I would suggest going forward is this, and it has worked somewhere else, it can work everywhere. All the traders who own stores know themselves. If they lock one store, would they even need all these guys with guns? Let everybody stay home. 1 week will not make you die. Then nobody go there. And if any of the traders goes to open his or her store because he paid the 2,000, let him pay for it. That is a black leg. That's a black leg. The deal will stand there, or whoever, the council mayor will stand there and look for people to come and open those stores. There will be nobody. So we don't even need to go wasting our bullets to fight a deal for that type of nonsense. It is civil disobedience. Once a single store is locked, every store should be locked. Until the single store is open, no trader should open the store anymore. You'll be surprised at what the deal will do. It has worked somewhere else. I've seen it. We have seen it here. It can work anywhere. It's civil disobedience. Yes, he can do that with his 2 messengers. He doesn't have messengers to force 50 traders from the houses to open the stores. The stores are yours. You pay a pattern for it. You sell for your own. And if they don't want you to, if they lock it, they have no reason to lock your store because you pay a pattern. But if they must lock it, let them lock it. Make sure everything is locked. So nobody pays the 2,000 or 1,000 or whatever money they're asking for. If you pay that money, the rest of the traders should consider you as a black leg. And you know the consequences of being a black leg in the community. As simple as that. As simple as that. Somebody can just come stand there with his khaki shirt and order your store to be locked. And then they go begging him for what? They want you to open that store on Monday, which is the ghost town day. So if you don't open, I don't open on Tuesday, you die? You go out of business? You will not. So we have to change our own tactics as well to confront them. And our tactics are the best. Civil disobedience, nobody ever defeats civil disobedience with force. They will give in and they will break you. Because those very stores, whatever thing you are selling there, they are also buying from you. If it's Gary, they also eat Gary. If it's salt, they also use salt. And so why do you think that they will not suffer? So my advice is, either log 1 store, 2 stores, 10 stores, no store will open until all the stores are open. That's my take.
Yeah, and just to
Yes.
add to what you said, Momo in Menamo resisted them for more than a year, and they continue to resist, that they have not succeeded. So others should emulate. Yes, Barrister Fruitless.
I am taking my cue from Ngokutunja. If Ngokutunja did what Barrister Mbesta has just said, they will still be locked today. The ASA of Ngokutunja went on rampage, and Anderson ran away, and the stores were open. If we go the route of civil disobedience, everybody goes away. First of all, the civilian population is going to suffer because they will not buy what they needed to buy for their daily use. They will not. The market will be closed. They will be losing income, and it's not good for the population to be starved in that manner. All I'm saying is that the warriors should do what Ngokutunja did to ensure that, because for the case of Ngokutunja, it was even the SDO, one Anderson. So civil disobedience is good, but it's not good when it comes to letting a businessman lock his store for weeks and weeks and weeks without making money. So our state army is supposed to protect the people of Oku. So they should go on the rampage and make sure that those stores are open and make sure that nobody pays that money if they have not paid already. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. There's something that also happened in Bowie, where because of the fall of FM, Mr. Cho Ayaba called for a ghost town, and we saw the ASAs in Bowie
Exactly.
rejecting it. That's quite important. You want to react to that, Barrister Fru, before we get to Barrister Mesa?
Yes, because that is exactly where the ASA is. That is its role. They did what they had to do to ensure that Ayabacho and his gang of thieves do not call the shots in Bowie. And it was immediate and swift. The people went about, the population went about their business. They did not. I'm sure Ayabacho did not succeed to call a lockdown anywhere in Bowie.
Yeah.
The same thing happened in Ngokutunja, and I am calling on the people of Bowie, the same people of Bowie, to react on the issue of Oku.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We are at war. Let nobody take that lightly. We are at war. We cannot be allowing our traders to be suffering for not doing business to live on, and the population to be able to live on what the traders are selling, just because a man in khaki comes and stands there and lock all the stores and they bring 2,000. For what? We need to show them that we control the land.
Do you want to react on the issue of Imbui, where Ghost Town was suspended the purported ghost town announced by Cho Ayaba was suspended by the ASA by Mbesia?
Well, if you suspended it, it's because you realized that it was not going to succeed. As simple as that.
No, the ASA actually suspended a Cho Ayaba's ghost town in honor of
And
the
enforced
fall of
it, and they enforced it. They made sure
yes.
that people went about their business.
What I'm trying to say
That is military action. Military action.
What I'm trying to say is this. This fight takes different forms in different counties. Cho Ayaba declared his ghost town, whatever thing, lockdown in Bui because he thought he could have some control over there. The people who have the control on the ground, the Ambazonian military people, said, no, it will not work here. I didn't work. That's the best. He called it off. Whether he didn't call it off or call it off, it didn't work. It could not work because people there who were supposed to obey that thing said no. And so I guess Cho Ayaba must have realized that he was just being stupid. He was just being stupid because if anything at all, I'm not sure any reasonable civil people in Ambazonia will call a ghost town in honor of a farm who have been a terror in their lives. That's the worst of the errors you can ever make. You could not work in Bui. We didn't call one in the BLM when Ayeke died. It will not work anywhere else. So the people said no. And Cho Ayaba, if he has any sense in his head, he must have realized that the people are stronger than him. As simple as that, we can all congratulate our boy on the ground who said, no, this thing will not work here. And they succeeded. So congratulations for standing up to the bully. Because what Cho Ayaba was trying to do was just to be a bully there.
To bully, terrorize the community.
Yeah, but he has failed, at least by the action of our restoration forces there. They have shown him that look, what he did in Momo, you're not going to do here in Bui.
And they even told him in that audio that this is not Momo.
Yes. So at least you have been so dangerous.
Together with a county that's well constituted, a county that has a better administration. It only tells us that others can emulate, not just Momo. Mezam can also emulate in this character and ensure that the ATF is completely wiped out from Ambazonia. We've long established that the ATF of Cho Ayaba is an enemy force in Ambazonia. You wanted to say something very briefly, Barrister Fru, before we conclude on.
I wanted to say that if we had forces in Menemo, the people would not have been suffering today with all the stores are locked. Everybody is suffering. If you don't go to Bamenda, you cannot buy anything. It cannot happen in Bui, and it's happening in Oku, which is in Bui. I'm therefore calling on the same Bui warriors that stop at Cho Ayaba to go to Oku and ensure that they liberate Oku from that khaki man standing there.
We hope that leadership.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's move on.
Yep.
There is something. There's a press release just coming in here from the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, and it is captioned: "The government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia issues a complete ban on taxation and sends a stern warning to colonial administration and municipalities regarding illegal increase in the rental cost of private or municipal stores." In a statement addressed colonial mayors, administrators, and the general population, and especially the people of Bamenda, the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia strongly opposes any attempts to increase municipal rental costs in Bamenda. The government, through this communication, emphasizes that there should be no increment, not even in a dime or 5 cents, in the rental cost of stores, both private and municipal. it explicitly directs traders not to pay any additional rental cost, warning colonial administrators and individuals against attempting to collect such funds. Furthermore, the government insists that any individual whose store is seized due to non-payment and additional money demanded by unelected colonial mayors should promptly report the incident. The report should include details about the confiscation and the person taking over the store. The Federal Republic of Amazonia emphasizes the importance of reporting such cases to the Amazonia State Army to address violations of international and Amazonian laws. On this note, the government upholds citizens' right to collective resistance against extortion and banditry and urges the public to report any such actions contrary to the laws of Amazonia to the relevant authorities. The government and authorities stand ready to address and investigate any attempts to force the population to pay unauthorized amounts. During this time of war, the government categorically rejects any attempts to tax the people as punishment, stating that the colonial administration has already extracted enough from Amazonia for 62 years. The government demands that they cease from imposing any additional cost or punitive fines on the people with the intention of disturbing stores to relatives. The Federal Republic of Amazonia declares its determination to resist unlawful taxation and is confident that the colonial administration will not succeed in their endeavors with the intention of confiscating stores and redistribution to relatives and non-citizens. Signed by Martin Mungwa, PhD, Secretary of State for Communication and ID. This is quite an instrumental statement, but there is one question because I stand in the state of the people. There is one question: enforcement. We have a critical concern as Amazonians in this regard. I wish Dr. Mungwa would have been here to take this question himself, or maybe not Mungwa, but the authorities in defense to tell us how they intend to enforce this order coming in from the government. Please react.
Having said that, the ASA has a duty to enforce and make sure that the people are protected. They will enforce it. I know that Bamenda is a difficult terrain with all kinds of rogues running all over the place, all bandits running all over the place and tantalizing people and collecting ransom from our people. But time has come for the ASA to act and act decisively, because we have a duty to protect the population, to protect our traders, to protect everybody, every Amazonian in the home front. That is our duty.
According to reports that we're getting from the ground, cost of living during this time of war has escalated dangerously. I'm not saying so with any fear of contradiction. But Barrister Mbesa, do you think this is a right action towards the right direction? And if you believe so, how do you think this can be enforced at this time? Because a lot of other things that you have, even proxies inflicting pain on the people, and we have not been able to enforce that. How do you think the government can ensure enforcement on this?
Now, the document is perfectly a good document. But for me to sit here and prescribe how it will be enforced everywhere in Amazonia, if I can do that, I'll be lying to you. For the simple reason that this war is being fought on different fronts with different numerical strength. The same number of fighters that we have in Bamenda, for example, is not the same that we have in Jikwa. And the same number of people who are required to enforce such order in Bamenda or Kumba or Boya is not the same that you're required to do it in Guzang. So those are instructions. We can only advise that they should be implemented with due diligence, given the circumstances of each particular area. Because there's no way somebody will go Guzang to and do it in Batibo, or leave Batibo to and do it in Mamfe. And again, the strength of the fighters in terms of numerical strength is not the same everywhere. But the directives are good. We can only encourage our people to enforce it. And I've said the best way of enforcing those things, I still hold to that. It's not so much the military guys coming with guns. It's the people themselves, organizing themselves as traders, as whoever they are, and saying that this thing, we're not doing it. You succeed. Yes, they did not get what they wanted to get on this particular day, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. But that is a consequence of war. Everywhere. Those difficulties will come, but they are temporary. They will go away with time. Again, I insist, as far as talking stocks and collecting money is concerned, our best line of defense are the traders themselves, who would see you want and pay that money as a black leg. I will be ostracized. The next man will not do it. Not just a few 150 boys that will have fighting with guns. They are confronted with the military, with their guns, and they are confronted with the civilian administration. They can only do so much. They cannot do more than what they can do. So that's my best advice. Those of them there, they can educate our people, our traders, our farmers who are on the ground. We've talked about Ghost Town. Ghost Town has turned out to be something only for traders. Because if my mother does not go to the market, she'll go to the farm. She'll go and make her garden. Nobody prevents me from going to the farm. And so we have to manage the situation as it is, encourage them to do the best that they can, with the best of what they have.
So one thing we call people is to...
Paddy?
Over to you.
Yeah, go ahead, Afro.
Paddy, you and I are from Bamenda. We grew up in Bamenda. Let me tell you something. That communique from SOS communication is very powerful and will be circulated in Bamenda, and that thing will be enforced. I don't want to say anymore. It will be enforced. And the people who are doing that are well known. They are well known. They are people living in Bamenda. These people who are tantalizing our traders are living in Bamenda. And that thing, that communique from the government is going to be enforced in Bamenda town. Just watch. I cannot say more than that.
I'm glad that you're saying that's going to be enforced. It's not wise for us to say more than that. So this is where...
No, we cannot say much more than that.
We have learned something from the past. Take the Ghost Town and motorbike drivers. When they try to violate the Ghost Town, you cannot go and catch all the drivers, but once a single motorbike is bent, just one, order comes in, nobody steps out anymore. So they can do it.
Yeah.
They are capable of doing it, and they will do it. Because they know themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody in the team. Every trader knows the other.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It will be enforced. One way or the other.
So we've agreed that it will be enforced, but then the government is calling on the population to report any of such recalcitrants, a despise of the Ambazonian laws of the land. You have to work with government together to provide a solution to your problems. It is easy.
Yes.
One responsibility you have is to boycott any of such, boycott, despise, ignore any of such impositions coming from colonial administrations and individuals who are working with the colonial. So it is clear, no increase of rents, no taxing or extra taxing of offices. The Amazonian government is behind you. Do everything you can at your strength to ignore and despise them. Thank you very much. We've had a wonderful day. And in conclusion, Barrister Fru, the green, red, yellow flag, now that we're talking about flag, in conclusion, is a betrayal. Why is it such a betrayal that we think that anyone respecting it is really assaulting our nation by doing so, even especially if you choose to respect 11 February?
It's a betrayal because it's a flag of a foreign country flying in our land. It's a betrayal. Anywhere that it flies, it's a target for us to take it down. Take it down with force, whatever it takes. Green, red, yellow is no longer a flag that should fly in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. And therefore, it's a betrayal, it's a provocation. It stands as a provocation to the nation of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Therefore, it has no place in any building or any place that is hosted in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Therefore, it should be taken down one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I want to add something, Paddy. The government has a duty. The government has a duty to issue this communique that we just read, and it's a very powerful communique. It is issued in such a way that it's read not only in Ambazonia but internationally. So it is well drafted and is well thought out. But don't forget that we are fighting a war and we are guerrillas. We are not a regular army. And we do things like guerrillas. We cannot say what we are going to do or today or tomorrow or any day. The government is assuring our people on the ground that the government will act. And it's the government's role to protect the population. But since we don't have a regular army, well funded, we are guerrillas, and we use guerrilla tactics to stop that nonsense from going on. That's what I was going to say.
Barrister Mbesa, please.
Let me say this. You see, on the flag, when we say we are abandoning La Republique, we are not abandoning the individuals, we are abandoning the institutions, essentially. And the flag is the external representation of a country. It's a piece of cloth, but it has a lot of meaning. In this very segment that we're sitting right now, we're debating about our flag appearing on TV4. It's just a drawing, but it means a lot. Because nations don't carry their national anthems on their back to travel around the world. They carry their flag. That's what represents them. So if we reject a country, we reject it with its institutions. And those institutions are represented by their flag. That's the visible one that you can find. If you go to United Nations headquarters, you see all the 199 flags hanging up there. Each of them represents something. So the talk of any flag, especially La Republique in Cameroon, in Amazonia, is manifestly illegal. It should be there. We will get free. If we create diplomatic relations with them, they put it in the embassy in Boya. And that's all. So it remains illegal as far as we're concerned. Because that's why they're so angry. If you fly our Amazonian flag in Boya, they will kill you. If you put a piece of cloth, just a slide of it, and you're riding a motorcycle in Douala, they will catch you. So it has a lot of meaning. So why we reject them? We're not just rejecting the individual citizens. You can still go and have a beer with them. You can still go to the market and exchange things with them. But we are rejecting the institutions which are represented by essentially externally by the flag. And so we reject it in total. We make them realize that we don't want them again. If they must come to Cameroon to Ambazonian with their flag, it will be in the embassy, which we shall have ours and theirs, just like the British have theirs there, just like the French, just like the Americans have. But the green, red, yellow, whatever thing they call it, is illegal for us. It's not going to work. We reject it in total. I see people watching football, carrying that thing around their skin. Well, let me remind you, you're lucky that nobody has set you ablaze. If I were there, and you were doing that for the purpose of watching football in Boya or Kumba or somewhere else, you'll be set ablaze. You'll be set ablaze. So that's important. For those who do not know, you should know that it is annoying, it is provocative for us to accept that flag in a place. They are flying there, but they are flying there against our wishes. That's all I can say for that. Over to you, Paddy.
Thank you, Barrister Mbesia. Thank you, Barrister Fro. We've been having some network challenges there from our studios, but unfortunately, we've been able to carry through this production. I want to thank you all who have been participating via our different platforms. We've come to a logical conclusion of tonight's show, and the questions have been answered. You have those who have varied opinions. There are those who are insisting that we should not ask for apology and so on and so forth. And they say so but from a strategic perspective, it's important for Ambazonia to make known their integrity by requesting for this apology. So whatever the government would have sent out is welcome. We're calling on all those who are watching us on YouTube. We have a new YouTube link which is out there. Please follow, subscribe, and share that YouTube link. Our former link has been blocked. Our former YouTube account has been blocked. But we're working very hard for a permanent solution to all of this. And for those who might not necessarily just need but a YouTube to watch us, we may have to reduce our outings on the different social media platforms so that you will be able to have our app that is gonna be out one of these days, and via that app you can watch us 24/7. We have received information that at certain places in Bamenda, some people are not getting our images. They can get the sound but they can't get our images. We want to make known of the fact that other parts in Ambazonia and West Africa are having our images. Perhaps you want to check your antenna and see what happens. We will update you on the government communique on all our different fora. But then I just want to thank all those who participated in this program. I want to thank Barrister Fru and Barrister Tim Besea for making out the time to come. We look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, again, as we have an intensive part of our discussions on ABC Amba TV. We'll be following the news in the course of the week very closely. And stay tuned. Thank you. We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Amber's Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of Southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with the hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia.